neighborhood residential. If you read your category of neighborhood residential, it's residential use implies that residential is in fact the primary use, variety of housing types, gross residential density no more than 2 to gross acre. So when we come in for the rezone, we will follow all of those stipulations outlined in your plan. Now, your plan was done in 2009, and there was an intergovernmental agreement that was associated with it between county, city, and town of Port Royal. Within that document, it states that the participating local governments agree that during the drafting of their comp plans, they will collectively establish the guiding principles within the regional plan. So this plan was done and the agreement was done in May of 2009. The county comp plan was redone in November of 21. If you look at the comprehensive plan of the county, it shows that this property is within the future growth boundaries and is listed as neighborhood mixed use. And within their category of neighborhood mixed use, it states the same basically as it's a mixed use of land uses, gross residential maximum of 2 DUs per acre, which will come in and follow. So it also, after we get to the city of Beaufort, their comp plan was done in 2021. And within their comp plan, it shows their future land use does not include this property. And their future land use with potential annexation areas does not include this property. So it's, and this was, their plan was done after the regional plan was done. They didn't incorporate any of the ideas of the regional growth boundaries into their future comp plan. So what we're showing is that we don't want to go to the city. It looks to me like the city doesn't want to annex north of where they are right now of Clarendon Farms, which is all this open space area, which would stretch their services, tremendously to get up that far up. So that's why we want to see about staying in the county and just rezoning through the county and following the county's future land use mapping comp plan and your future land use plan in the outlying areas. So we'll come back with this once we find the submittal and everything associated with it, because that plan changed from the plan that you have in front of you since we met with the air station and went over some of the acreage lines that some of the land uses had to move. We had to shift some uses around, so that plan will change a little bit and come back to you. But today we just wanted to kind of, we've been having trouble. We've met with the city and county together, and we've just been having some issues going back and forth on whether we should annex or not. This property is contiguous to the city of Beaufort via across the creeks, but it's contiguous to parts of the city that are open space, not developed, don't have any services. So again, that's the reason probably why they don't want to stretch that far up. So we're just looking to kind of get an idea of a direction of how we can take this. We'd rather stay in the county and go directly into a rezone with the county and follow the guiding principles of your plan and the county's plan. And guiding principles actually of the city plan who doesn't want this future annexation. I'll be open to any questions.
So the conservation easement is part of the parcel.
Part of the entire parcel. And then also I'm not purchasing the conservation easement. So I'm only purchasing a part of the remaining property. And so the part of the property that I'm going to purchase will not be contiguous to the city. So I have to subdivide mine out for the purchase of what I'm buying, and that parcel will not be contiguous to the city property. I'll do that after we move forward with the process, but.
Well, if everyone had a chance to read Rob's memo too, I mean, that's a good history of how we got here and why we're all this.
Your parcel consists of how many acres?
325.
And what, sorry, I don't have the memo in front of me, but what's the planned density on that and what zoning would be required?
We're going to go to the county zoning of T4, T3, and then we'll have an industrial site of SI, and then we'll donate a fire substation, a police substation, that'll be SI, and some commercial.
So you're planning on doing a map amendment and a development agreement on it?
A map amendment.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
just a rezone to those categories, which are all county categories.
Are there any plans for affordable housing?
We're looking to. Most likely affordable housing will go to the piece adjacent, which I'm looking to get under contract at Billy owns, the 58 acres. 58 acres.
The acres, how's that gonna impact?
The acres falls within a portion of the property that's right next to the conservation easement, falls within 65, which doesn't allow residential. That's what we had to shift. We moved the industrial over to that area and shifted the residential around. So now we fall within the 60, which is allowable uses. Residential is falls within that.
How many acres is in that industrial? When you shift
It'll
it
be
about,
about 60 acres industrial. 60 to 65.
When you speak of affordable housing, we call it affordable housing.
Today, kind of affordable housing almost it's a rarity to even exist. With the land costs and construction costs and infrastructure costs and impact fees, we're hoping we can be within the low 300s as being affordable. You can't get anything under 300 with all the impact fees, all the construction costs, the lumber costs, and then infrastructure costs. By the time, even if I spent $10,000 on just the land for a lot, I'm spending another 60 to develop that lot.
You've had different subsidies that you could use as trade-offs. You might be able
I mean, if Beaufort County be willing to get rid of a $13,000 or $15,000 impact fee per residential unit, that saves a lot.
Yeah.
If you can somehow fix the tariffs where it doesn't tariff lumber coming in from Canada, that would help a lot. I mean, it's just very expensive to deliver a house. I mean, we are doing mixed houses, so we'll do a townhome product, a alley loaded single family, and then a standard single family. And the townhomes, hopefully we can get into under 300.
is Beaufort Jasper sewer?
There's an existing pump station on the high school site. We'll have to upgrade that pump station, and then we'll have to upgrade the force main leading out of it. We'll have a pump station within our subdivision, and there's plenty of water up there that will extend those water lines to the post office, water and sewer to the post office. We'll extend water and sewer out to Detour Road for any tie-ins eventually in the future.
But it would have sewer, not septic?
Yes, it would have sewer. We have to make all those upgrades to the Beaufort County lines.
And so maybe, so how many units again? I'm sorry.
650,
650.
a mix of uses.
Yeah, I got, Gerald, did you have any questions? I got you on speaker.
Can you hear me, Dave?
Yeah, I can hear you. I got you on speaker. About as close as I can get you.
Yeah, everything came through spotty, and it's really not clear, but I don't have any questions at this time. I'll wait till we get further in the process.
Okay.
We've met with Beaufort Jasper.
Yes, sir. I heard you. So did the developer.
We've met with Gerald previously. We've met with Beaufort Jasper. We've met with the fire station. We've met with the air station. We've met with Spanish Moss Trail folks. And we have our community meeting next week with Seabrook and Stewart Point. And then we also had a community meeting last week, or this week, at the dam at the beach refuge.
So you mentioned some community incentives. If you do get this change, how do you plan on following through with that without a contract in place
Contract in place for.
for those community incentives? So if we give you that amendment, how can we hold you accountable to make sure those substation and everything else is built? And
Sewer development grant.
that's why I mentioned the development agreement because okay.
Quickly, since you mentioned it, how was the conversation between the Spanish Moss Trail and
Good, because we're looking to put a RID on the property, which is a residential improvement district. Within that district, those funds will be used we're going to complete segment 10 that runs through the property and segment 9 then the Clarendon Farms folks will, or the Spanish Moss Trail people will finish segment 7 from Clarendon up to there. So part of this development will include in that development agreement the construction of segments 10 and 9. Then we'll do a trailhead parking lot at the intersection of the trail and Seabrook Road. Also, I don't want to get too in depth of it, but the old general store up there is part of my purchase, and I'm looking to get grants to rehab and restore that facility. Do like an outpost that could potentially have kayak rentals, fishing, bait and tackle, and bike rentals. Bring back a little of the historic building.
General, the post office, right?
Right across the street from the post office. The existing post office.
Right, okay.
And the old post office was part of it. And also the old packing house that's part of it's on the trail right now. We'd like to rehab that also and put that into a community event center, oyster roast, community meetings, neighborhood meetings, things like that. Property, which will have access, into the high school from our community. And 9 is the one that curves through the county park.
And you have obtained and involved easements necessarily in that?
We're working with Beaufort Jasper on that. They own the segment 10.
That's it, but he doesn't.
9 will work with the county on. Since that goes through their park. Yes.
But the county has the whole, all the way to the
Oh,
railroad.
so it dips a little further down, okay, then that it starts. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the county.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do know the Spanish Moss Trail has been trying to get the embassy, so this will
Yeah,
definitely.
when I met with them, they were super excited about possibilities. They really want to finish this segment of the trail, the Whale Branch.
Be a gap between the innovation and the development, because it's not gonna run along the railroad right away there.
Going to Clarendon.
It'll have to run on 21.
Up to the trailhead, right around and get from there up to the Seabrook property.
Go around.
There used to be a bridge, it's not there, so you have to go around, and that might involve taking property and stuff like that.
They're gonna put it. They want to align it along Highway 21 right away.
That's the big one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's a little grading issue, but they're aware of it. And they're planning.
Harder to get it across for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which.
So our big holdup is determining, like I said, we don't want to annex into the city. We'd rather stay in the county and follow their plan and your plan. And the languages that are conflicting within the intergovernmental agreement, stating that we have to annex because we're contiguous, but technically we are, but technically we're really not. We just want to kind of figure out our direction. And we'd rather have the direction just going straight to the county permitting zones.
I don't have a real issue with anything that you presented personally, but that's somebody else's district, so I'm just gonna leave it like that.
Any further discussion from the board?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Doug, can you hear me, Doug?
Yes, sir.
Did I hear, you mentioned something about the land near the Seabrook Center? What would that include?
Currently, the Seabrooks Community Center sits on about 4.5 acres. And what we're going to do, part of my purchase is to purchase the property adjacent to it that is on the corner. It's an additional 4.5 acres. I'm donating that to the community center so they can look at getting possibly expanding a community center or putting in a early learning center or teen center. Okay, no, so I'd be donating, and it's just 4.5 acres to the community.
What's this account? That land that the beginning center not. Owns it.
It's under the Seabrook Community Rec
No.
as the ownership. I don't
The
know.
only property in the county owns is the park.
Yeah.
As far as I know if Gerald knows any different because it's parks in the car. That was part of the agreement with McLeod that they did under that.
Yeah, yeah.
Part of this purchase is also gonna be, it looks like it covers an industrial park.
Industrial park will be, we'll be rezoning part of it for industrial park. We're working with Beaufort County Economic Development Council and giving them 60 acres, 65 acres of industrial land for future office flex space. Also working with Billy on his property, with 20 acres of his up front along 21 for future grocery. More affordable housing, I think, so.
Billy's property is contiguous to the property of purchase.
It's across the street, yeah. We've got 58 acres. He's already zoned, so we won't be looking to rezone that part. He's zoned under the Seabrook Stewart Point reservation. We've got the same density, gross density, 2 to the acre. I think with the density, because he's close to schools. And this property would definitely help out the diversity of the high school and helping build that high school up. Some dire need of students.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Have you talked to Colonel Guy or anybody at the
Yeah,
school board?
he's super excited about possibilities of adding more housing for teachers and also expanding the student diversity in there, increasing the student capacity.
You're gonna have to have affordable housing. That's good.
We'll try our best.
Do any of these ponds or stormwater retention areas, are they already existing?
No. Anybody have any comments on the intergovernmental agreement and the annexation requirements and
The only comment I'll make is that, the annexation issue at that time, very, the word, heated as a good word. And there were a lot of concessions made on everybody's party. I think I just needed, I know the school district is there and as well, and the city and the county, and their big pushback here and there. The boundary lines was determined at that time because everybody at some point in time was annexing everything. Living on St. Helena, I even got afraid that St. Helena was going to be annexed to somebody. So I just need to refresh my remembrance of what happened and to make sure that we stay true to the position of the county. And if there is a conflict, then discuss that. So
yeah, it's curious that it was required to have the guiding principles of the Northern Plan implemented into the county comp plan and the city's comp plan and everybody. So we're all following the same direction. And when the city's revised comp plan came out in 21, it didn't show future land use being up there outside the city limits. So it's kind of showing me that the city doesn't want to grow north of where they're at right now due to services, probably, I'm assuming.
I think
It's not shown on their comp plan as being
I think
part of the
it
city.
was almost a pushback from the county to say, we don't want you to come over here. So that's where the line was being drawn. And so I'm glad to hear that you do not want to, you prefer.
I prefer Salem County. The county's already servicing that area in terms of fire and police. And in terms of the city to drag and push their services that much further north over a gap of which they have is just now open space. It is a stretch for that municipality.
I think the McLeods also wanted to maintain an opportunity for family growth. Well, so they push or retain some land so that it can be developed. And I'm assuming that's the same land that you're pursuing right now and stuff. So, yeah. So,
I guess my last question that I have is what's your timeline?
We want to get our submittal in for rezone ASAP. So timeline wise, we probably are looking at another 18 months to get our construction drawings in place after rezone and then break ground. And that's going to take another year and a half to you see first construction happening. So probably 2.5 years before a house is on the ground with people in it. For the build out of probably 10 years. Not going to happen overnight, but it'll be a slow process.
I think the intergovernmental agreement is fairly clear in terms of what all the agreements have or haven't in it. I'm not sure, having been part of the city planning process, I'm not sure that it was necessarily specifically excluded from our boundaries or not, but I think that it sounds like probably some discussions and decisions need to be made between the city and the county as to a clear direction of where everybody sees this going. And
the zoning categories are similar. The ones that we're looking to do in the county are similar to ones that the city has.
I remember when this whole thing happened.
The
air station.
South Florida.
Yeah. And at one time, the city was gonna not only annex Clarendon, but also Seabrook. And the clouds were kind of counting on that.
Mm-hmm.
And
That didn't happen.
happened, but that was at the same time that they put that land in conservation to get a higher density.
Is that when Bill Rose?
Yeah.
And then the agreement, Weston Newton is the one that put
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
agreement that if the county put any money into the conservation easement to match the military dollars, that's why they had to come
Yeah.
to this body first. That was Chairman Weston.
Yeah.
a lot of things have changed, obviously.
They didn't even have sewer out there. It's a high school.
The high school had not been built, yeah,
A lot of things have changed.
yeah, lots changed.
I think a lot of things have changed. Sounds to me like the city needs to take another look at what their desires are going forward with all this, and then get together with the county and figure this thing out as to where each of us.
And Gerald was on county council. Gerald Dawson was on county council.
Yeah.
Wow.
When all this,
Yeah.
We're happy to facilitate getting that started, but who needs to be privy to that meeting? That makes the decision without having to go to a full council for.
I can't answer that. I think it's probably first. I think that I don't mean to fail, but I think my opinion is that the city needs to review it. We're just ready to start taking another look at our comp plan, and our comp plan that we did last time. I was heavily involved with that, and I'm not sure that we were just starting to look at some of the growth boundaries with the county, and I really don't think we've completed that. And even if we did back when we did the comp plan, I don't think that is necessarily where we are today. And so I think from the city standpoint, I think the city has got to look at where we think we are and what we would like to see for those boundaries. And then once the city has taken a look at it, then I think there's a meeting that needs to happen between the city and the county. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think you need to be involved with that right away. I think this is more administrative about where things going. But that does bring up a point that we've been talking about, and there's a number of items on our future list of discussion for growth boundaries, transportation, and all that are starting to become very critical with all of us that probably need to be brought to the table sooner than later.
And we need to figure out how to get how do we redevelopment. And you can like the density bonuses and reimbursement of impact fees and stuff. I mean, here we're running out of land practically. Nobody wants apartments anymore, and just getting worse by the minute.
Did you apply for the state tax incentives?
I haven't applied for anything yet. I'm trying to decide which direction to go. I got before I start doing all that.
Just curious, I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing it. What's the total number of units?
650, so it equals to 650, so it equals 2 to the acre. Just the consistent zoning that's out there already with Brook Point and Beaufort Reservation.
Any other discussion from the board? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Again, we'll be back once we decide.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to give the general.
Yeah, I just forgot.
Okay.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to echo something that Councilman Glover said is that, the Northern Regional Plan was done, 2006, 2007 timeframe, and it was a response to very contentious, they called that era the annexation wars, and it was a response to that. And it was really, it came out of 2 years of people sitting in the same room, some people who didn't even want to be in the same room with each other, compromising, trying to figure out where to draw boundaries and what the role of the municipalities would be within those boundaries and the role of the county outside the boundaries. And out of that process, the intergovernmental agreement was signed by all 3 jurisdictions, and it lays out these principles. So the number one thing, it draws boundaries, which is basically Port Royal Island and Ladies Island. And it says within Port Royal Island, Ladies Island, that's area that over time should become more suburban and urban. And the preferred method of increasing density is through annexation. So there's an agreement to try to defer to the municipalities to upzone in those growth boundaries, with the agreement that outside the growth boundaries, the county is not competing with the municipalities and upzoning areas in St. Helena and Sheldon. So one of the basic principles in the intergovernmental agreement is where you have contiguity, which means that by state law, annexation is achievable. So where you have contiguity, the county is saying, we are not going to upzone that property. We will defer to the municipality for annexation. So it's clearly in that agreement. And I will say, this has been, and that's the whole purpose of this committee, this agreement has been followed, for that time period, since then. And we don't call this era the annexation wars because we have an agreed growth framework, and we have little squabbles here and there, differences of opinion about how property should develop. But we're not, municipalities aren't reaching way out into the rural areas, and the county's not upzoning areas out in the rural. So And we have met with several different people who have been interested in this property and consistently have told them that your path to changing the zoning is through annexation, because you have contiguity and the Northern Regional Plan says you have to, upzone. So we met with the current developer, who's interested in this property, convey that message. But the one thing I said is that for the county to even consider upzoning this property, we would want something very definitive from the city that would say, A, we are not interested in annexing out this far, and then B, that the city is in agreement with development in this area, because I think that that's necessary if you want to continue this agreement and arrangement we have with the municipalities. So I just want to make that really clear. We take the intergovernmental agreement and the Northern Regional Plan very seriously. And it's been a very successful policy document. We have people from other regions asking, well, how did you do this? So it's something that I think that we need to very seriously take into consideration.
Well, Mike, on that.
Yes.
Well, so essentially, if I understand, it's more of a right of first refusal, so to speak.
Well, so we have, it really isn't a right of first refusal. In the intergovernmental agreement, when there's contiguity, county is simply saying, no, we're not going to upzone. Where a property, let's say it's 2 or 3 properties removed from municipal, the agreement gives the municipality the right to try to seek, or the applicant to work with the city or the town to seek a path to annexation. The work of this.
So I guess with further communication, the city acknowledges that they can't extend their services out right now.
Yeah.
Then it's essentially defer back to us. Would that take a staff level agreement, or would that have to come before our council?
I'd have to go to the county.
I mean, we would want something that we can kind of,
Something official.
the county can say, okay, the city has said, we're not interested and we support this development or we're.
Okay.
I mean, that's just staff direction that we gave the applicant. And one of the reasons we thought coming to this board would be a good idea is to kind of get the Northern Regional Implementation Committee's thoughts on this before they go and bridge councils.
But it also, I think, as Mr. Tomey was stating, shows that this plan probably needs to be updated, right? If we've been going on this plan for 15 years, there's some changes. I think the whole plan needs to be thought of before we make a major change. I think that's what we go.
Yeah, I appreciate your explanation, Rob, because that is exactly what the intergovernmental agreement says, is exactly what you said. And I think that's why I said, I think the city needs to revisit where we are with our comp plan. And the city needs to make a conscious decision. That may include having presentation from you to the city about what your plans are. But then I think, this body is here for this purpose. That's what this body was put together for, as Rob has pointed out. The intergovernmental agreement specifically states that. So I appreciate that. And I think right now it sounds to me like it's probably in the hands or the major responsibility right now is for the city to do a review and make some decisions. And then, like I said before, it sounds to me like the city and the county need to get together, and that could be as part of this body or separate meetings, whatever they decide they think is best format.
When is the 5 years for the comp plan update? Next year?
Well, next year will be a 5-year.
Yeah. Yes.
The total rewrite will be
Right.
6 years.
Yeah,
Because I'll be there.
and the comp plan the city was actually under the Metropolitan Planning Commission. So the last comp plan that was done for the city was in concert between the city, the town, and the county, all representative there.
Why didn't they include the property within their growth boundary?
I'm not gonna get into those discussions. I think that, in my mind, that's moot right now, because we're at the point of the 5-year where it needs to be relooked at anyhow.
By state law.
And some decisions should be made. And
Is
that's
the city willing to stretch services north?
yeah, that's a decision that needs to be made by the city, and that's part of the agenda that we have in front of us for future discussions as growth boundaries, and has been for a while. Any other questions from the board? Any on telephone line? Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
And I'm sure we'll be getting together again.
Yes, I'm sure we will.
Okay. So we're running a little bit early, but that's great. Two things. I think if we want to go around the table and any discussion items anybody wants to bring forward today to talk about, we can do that, and then we can go to adding potential topics for future agenda items next. So we want to go around the table. Anybody to add the same thing you want to bring up?
Well, if I can jump in there, I'm sure y'all have been getting the same emails and phone calls about stormwater issues with all this heavy rain that we're having. There may be a really good project coming to the Ladies Island area. It's still very, very early on, but I think getting an update on some of the stormwater projects and a priority list for the area and things that have been identified, because I feel like we've piecemealed all these studies together, but water doesn't care about boundary lines. I think addressing the stormwater issues as a region is probably a better idea. Get from our stormwater department or somebody to come in.
Taylor, we're good.
Yeah.
To brief us on it. I'm gonna tag on to that, because it impacts the city and the town, and y'all may already know it, but, the Arthur Horn old park that got flooded and almost destroyed during Matthew, and at Camellia and Azalea, the county has started working on that. They thought they were gonna get a USDA grant to make it kind of like Cypress Wetlands concept, but no word on that. So they're going ahead and doing what they can, but they have it gated off. But they're doing the work to clean that out. So, eventually, hopefully, people walk to Cypress Wetlands and then come over to Arthur Horn. The design is more of a duck pond with a boardwalk. So, yeah.
Scott, we did get some funding for the Pigeon Point stormwater. Didn't we get some funding back?
Yes, but
We lost it at one time.
we were informed that it was lost, and then we were informed that it
We've got several projects, about 4 stormwater projects in the works.
So I still think a joint effort between everybody can.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can all talk about it in a meeting. Just storm.
Yeah, I think that's probably critical.
And for world.
Yeah.
And another thing, Allison and I attended a growth seminar, whatever, what you want to call it, down in Blackburn, and the survey, we all know kind of what the answers were going to be, but it was very eye-opening.
We can get those slides out to be distributed. It was the Real Estate Association. Yeah, some of it was kind of depressing, but some of it was good. What people think about quality of life, things like that, in just Beaufort County.
And they broke it out too by municipality. And they targeted certain people, and they tried to make it as, I guess, broad and
I guess I'd send that to Libby to distribute, or,
Yeah.
okay,
She's in Alaska.
but she's in Alaska, right?
Well,
I'll send it to Rob.
I don't think she's on certificates.
No. I'll send that to Rob.
So that was a countywide, that didn't really fit.
A lot of what you expect, but maybe when you see the numbers, you're like, oh.
Well, I'll work with Libby to see if we maybe can get the same presenters.
He goes all over the country. I don't think we can get him.
Okay.
Washington,
He's hard to get, but but she has, the Real Estate Association has all the information, all the backup.
Now, did Beaufort Jasper attend that meeting also? Were they a part of that?
I think they probably were invited.
They were invited, but I didn't see a rep from there. I didn't see
Okay,
Charlie or.
I'd like to see if we could get some kind of response through them. for
Here's the
same
questions that
thing.
were asked, the demographics.
Male, female,
Very detailed.
race, everything.
And I definitely would like to see those as well.
It was eye-opening on the biggest issues and especially when we have a referendum coming. Just a little, you can't look at some of that information.
And to your comment, I know that development's been in the news at least once, and
Which development?
development you're talking about Ladies Island.
Oh, no, this is a different stormwater project.
No, I wasn't talking about stormwater. I'm talking about development. No, there's something else that was being talked about in the paper, I think. There's something like that coming up. It was a pretty massive potential project. That's non-existent, and I think we just not worry about that. Well, okay. All right. Yes,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I heard mention, if I'm not mistaken, during the presentation of the Seabrook Farms discussion, I think it was mentioned that there's a meeting scheduled for Tuesday next week at the Will Branch High School for 6 p.m. I just want to make it known that that meeting is being sponsored and held by the Seabrook Snow Point Community Preservation Group and not county council and not myself sponsoring the meeting. So it's open to the public, and I encourage all of you to attend if you have a desire.
Okay, say it. When is it again? 6 p.m.?
6 p.m. at the Will Branch Early College High School.
Okay.
And what's the date?
What date?
That's Tuesday the 26th.
Tuesday. Okay. All right. All right, that'd be great. Maybe we can get something sent out to city and county councils to alert them of that. Thank you. Other issues? There's a couple things that I'd like to see on an agenda, and it may need to just be the city, but the two things that give me a little bit of heartburn are number one is our road capacity, a road capacity study. I think we're charging down a point of no return, and I think somehow we need to have a study about road capacities, not TIAs for projects and things going on, but I think we need to have a road capacity study. I don't know if there's anything we can necessarily do about it, but I think we need to have a better awareness of what our road capacities are north of the Broad. And I think that if there's any possibility that we can get a study done, I would like to see that done. But I'd like to put that on our list of future agenda items. The other thing, I've done this in Atlanta when I've been on the boards there, but we did a study, and I don't know if it's appropriate for just the city, the town, the county, or all three as a combined study, but a study of rent to own properties and the stability of our area and what that actually means. But I know that we did that in Atlanta. It was very useful, and it helped us to establish some guidelines. I think that is another possibility of something to for discussion.
Talk about a balance between single family and rental.
Not necessarily single family, but just own versus rent.
Okay.
Own versus rent, and so that encompasses a larger area. That's hotels and rentals and everything versus own property. And obviously that varies tremendously between destination, holiday kinds of activity areas versus towns that are trying to establish a guideline that is more equitable, if you will, between the two groups. And any other discussion from the board? Any?
How was the input from the public about short-term rentals?
Oh, we specifically held that with our board. It was very good. It was very good. I think if you all would like to see the minutes from that, we'd be happy to share those with y'all. But I think we had a lot of very good input. I think it gives us a lot of information to use as guidelines when we're thinking about this. It's very helpful.
Was it on Facebook? Was it video for the city?
It was video, yes.
Okay, so you could look at it that way.
And I hope it's out there, but it was supposed to be, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Wasn't a real long meeting, but it was a good meeting. I think we had a little problem getting it advertised out there so we could get a broader range. There were a lot of ADU people there and a few short-term rentals. And we had conversation on both sides of the short-term rental situation and also both sides of the ADU. So I think there was a good balance.
We're addressing, if you have work session, some changes that council wanted to see regarding short-term rentals. What are you doing? That issue. Unoccupied versus best.
Any other discussion items from the board? Seeing none, how about any discussion items from the public? Any comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjourn.
So moved.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.